15 men on a dead man's chest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to present to you a science fiction and fantasy phenomenon from Hamilton, Ontario. Ed Greenwood has called his latest novel, Horn of the Kraken, a wild ride. He is awesome. He is here. He is Stephen B. Burrow. Woo!
Thank you, Elizabeth. And that was Elizabeth Hurst, my colleague, proprietor of Pop Seagull Publishing, an author in her own right. And our tent is just past the food tent. Head on down by the snow cone place. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to read you a little bit from Horn of the Kraken, a Norse fantasy adventure. And what you need to follow this one is that the party who are the adventurers have only really just met, and they have to retrieve a magical artifact from a cave. The location of the cave is known. It's also known that it's guarded by Dreyri, which are basically giant vampire bats. So this is when they're just heading out to go on the first stage of retrieving this magical artifact and taking it to the queen. Fjorn led the way from the inn. They paused. "What are we stopping for?" asked Ragnar. "How do we get to the gate?" Fjorn grinned sheepishly. Ragnar sighed. Men. This way. Moving to the front of the group, she led the way through the streets to the landward gate. Just outside the gate, they donned snowshoes and collected a sled that was waiting for them. Lighting several candle lanterns, they headed up the main trail. "Munin, can you fly ahead and make sure the way is clear, please?" Singulina spoke to the raven, which launched itself into the air. "That is an amazing talent. I've seen some falconers with such command of their birds, but it is a rare gift." Fjorn moved to Singulina's side. "It's friendship." Singulina shrugged. "So are you really a Carl's son?" A shadow seemed to cross Fjorn's features. "Yes." They trudged on until they came to a side trail that moved up a steep incline towards a jagged, barren patch of ground. "This is it. The stories say that this is the path to the cave. Hide anything shiny." Singulina pulled her cloak closer about her and started up the trail. It ascended steeply. "My legs hurt," griped Ragnar. "You could have waited on with the boat," remarked Auden. "And leave you alone? Someone has to watch out for Siggy. And I don't trust you lot to last 5 minutes without me." Ragnar tossed her head, but her hood hid the effect. "Shush!" whispered Singulina. "They might hear you." Munin landed on her shoulder and spoke into her mind. "I didn't see anything but a big cave mouth. The snow is yellow out front of it. You're almost there." A moment later, an opening loomed out of the hillside. It was high enough that Auden could have stepped through without stooping, and as wide as a small house. The snow in front of it was trampled flat and stained with yellow and brown streaks. Singulina clutched her forehead. "This is it. The magic is so powerful." "Ragnar, Auden, set up. Singulina, the door, and I will go in. The door, how do you want to do this?" asked Fjorn. Vidir snarled, took a deep breath, and released a blood-curdling howl. He shuddered, and a moment later the red wolf stood where he had been. "That is just not right," commented Ragnar. "It is his way," said Auden. "Good choice," commented Fjorn. "Munin, you wait here and do just like we discussed," ordered Singulina. "Let's go." Fjorn drew his sword and led the way into the cave. They crept forward, removing their snowshoes when they were on solid rock. The air warmed as they descended, and an acrid stench assailed them. The light of their lanterns reflected off veins of crystal in the rock walls. Water dripped from the ceiling, making puddles on the stony floor. The ripples the drops caused sent the light from their lanterns to make wavering patterns on all sides. They came to a place where the passage narrowed so a man with arms outstretched could touch both walls at once. "I don't like..." Fjorn threw himself against the wall, barely avoiding the snapping jaws of a Dreyri. The 5-foot-tall bat turned to strike again. Vidar leapt, smashing it to the ground. The huge wolf's jaws closed on the Dreyri's neck, and there was a crunching sound. Blood bubbled around the wolf's jaws, and he drank it down. "Thanks," whispered Fjorn. "This is a good place." Opening his pack, Fjorn pulled a jug of oil out and spilled it from it, forming a puddle on the rocky ground where the passage narrowed before leading the way deeper into the cavern. Singulina's light reflected dimly off something by the wall, and she moved to investigate. A short sword, which was mostly covered by something black, lay clutched in a skeletal hand with the forearm bones attached. She prodded it with the end of her staff, and the hand shifted, revealing a ruby ring. "Over here," came Fjorn's hushed summons. Singulina turned to see where Fjorn's lantern illuminated a place where the cave expanded to a size where the light was lost before reaching the other side. On the edge of the illumination was an altar. Magical lights gleamed around it, making a sphere. As she drew closer, she could see that the altar was bowl-shaped and filled with clear quartz crystals. In the midst of the crystals was a black dagger with a skull-shaped pommel. "This is it," she whispered. Fjorn glanced at the dagger, then looked about the chamber's vaulted ceiling. At least 3 score dots of lights reflected back towards him above. Swallowing in her dry mouth, he hissed, "Hurry!" "What? Why? This is a delicate spell. I have to..." "Hurry!" Fjorn leapt forward, brandishing his longsword, driving back a Dreyri. Vidar leapt, catching another of the beasts in mid-flight and bringing it to ground. A tremendous shriek went up, and the cavern was alive with black wings and darting bodies. The noise was incredible. Several Dreyri collided in midair. Singulina wrenched the wooden box out of her backpack and scooped some of the crystals into it before snatching out the dagger. It felt like ice in her hand as she threw it into the box and covered it with more crystals. A Dreyri flew at her. She barely had time to grasp her staff before she heard Fjorn singing, "The shields of Asgard are shields of might, turn the wrath of giants to flight. Shields to hold a warrior's might, the shields of Asgard are shields of might." The Dreyri attacking her was deflected by a dome of sparkling lights. "Go!" yelled Fjorn as he fended off another Dreyri. Vidar caught a glancing blow to his side and snarled in pain. "Shadows, to me I invoke thee." Singulina stepped away from the altar. To her, nothing seemed to change, except for the fact that the Dreyri seemed oblivious to her. She stowed the wooden box with the dagger in her bag and started up the passage. Vidar moved with near impossible speed, almost as if his wounds spurred him on. Another Dreyri fell to his jaws as Fjorn's longsword dripped with blood. Wolf and man slowly backed towards the passage out. A Dreyri larger than the rest charged them, its black wings filling their vision. It spat at them, then flew back. The spit splattered Fjorn's cloak, which began to smoke and dissolve. A quick slice with his blade, and the cloak fell to the floor. They were in the narrower passage. The large Dreyri charged them again. Fjorn prepared, and as the creature spit, he lunged forward, driving his sword home in the hideous form. The Dreyri backed away, squealing, while Fjorn and Vidar raced up the passage. Singulina stood by the oil puddle, her lantern open and candle to hand. The noise below was dulled in the passage. There was a glimmer of light, quickly followed by Fjorn and Vidar running towards her. They jumped over the oil. She put the flame of her candle to the oil. The oil caught, creating a wall of fire and smoke. Beyond the fire, hideous bat-like forms filled the cavern. One released a bark of noise, and they then seemed to focus on her despite her spell. She joined her comrades in racing towards the cave's mouth. They emerged to find a barrel of oil at the cave mouth, and Norns Ragnarok standing by the now empty sled. Auden was tracing runes on his battle axe. "Did you get it?" asked Ragnar. We got it. Move!" Fjorn toppled the barrel, spilling oil over the cavern floor, then tossed his lantern into the puddle, which roared into flame. "Munin, now!" called Singulina. The raven lifted into the air, carrying a miniature candle lantern that sparkled in the darkness.
This reading brought to you by Fjorn of the Kraken and the other fine works of Stephen B. Pearl. For more of Stephen's works, please visit www.stphenperl.com. Thank you.